My husband gave me an ultimatum. Sign everything away or lose my family. I recorded everything. The coffee maker hummed its low morning song. It always started with a groan, then a steady drip. A comfort sound, really. 50 years, I've been hearing a coffee maker do its thing. First it was my mother's, then my own, then Robert's. Now it's just mine. A little sound of life, in a house that feels too big, too quiet. Just me and the hum and the soft clink of the mug. I pour the dark liquid. Black, always black. No room for cream anymore. No sweetness left. I stand there by the window. The kitchen window looks out onto the backyard, or what used to be our backyard. The oak tree is still there. Its branches reach out like old arms. Robert planted that tree when David was born. He said it would watch our family grow. A silly thought for a grown man. But I loved it then. I loved him for saying it, for thinking of roots, of permanence. The tree still stands, but the family it watched over, well, that's a different story. It wasn't always like this. This hollow feeling, this quiet ache that sits right under my ribs. There was a time this house vibrated with laughter, with arguments, with the clatter of dishes, and the squeak of old floorboards. A real home. Robert and I built it, not with our own hands exactly, but we chose the lot. We picked the paint colors. We agonized over the tile in the bathroom. Every nail felt like it held a piece of our future, our children's future. We met at a college dance. He was tall, kind eyes, a quiet strength about him. I was silly, giggly, full of dreams that glittered like spilled champagne. He calmed me, grounded me. He was everything I didn't know I needed. We married young, 22 and 24. Our parents thought we were crazy, too soon, but we knew, or I thought we did. David came 2 years later, a sturdy boy, red cheeks, always curious. Then Sarah, my beautiful Sarah, delicate, artistic, always sketching. They filled our lives, every corner, every moment. We weren't rich, not by any stretch. Robert was an accountant, steady work, good benefits. I stayed home, ran the house, volunteered at their school, made sure there were always cookies in the jar, always a hot meal. That was my world, my purpose, my joy. We scrimped, we saved. Robert was diligent about it, always talking about the future, retirement, the children's college funds. He was so careful, so responsible. It gave me peace, knowing we were secure, that our children would have a start, that we wouldn't be a burden on them later. It was the American dream, right there in our suburban cul-de-sac, white picket fence and all. The kids grew up. David went to state school, became a project manager, a little restless, always chasing the next big thing. Sarah went to art school, worked in graphic design, moved to the city. They were good kids. My kids, they had their struggles. David with job changes, Sarah with rent and finding her way. We helped where we could, a little extra money here and there, a down payment for David's first house, a car for Sarah when hers broke down. We didn't mind. That's what parents do. You give them roots, then you give them wings. Sometimes the wings need a little push, a little financial boost. Robert was always pragmatic about it. He'd say, it's our legacy, our investment in their happiness. I believed him. We were a team, always. He handled the bigger money stuff, the investments, the taxes. I handled the day-to-day, the household budget, the bills. It worked. For 45 years it worked. Our retirement was supposed to be golden. We planned trips, a cruise to Alaska, a cross-country drive. We had this thick binder full of brochures, dreams carefully cataloged. Robert retired at 65. I was 63. It felt like a new chapter. More time together, more time for the grandkids, Emily and Noah from David, Chloe and Liam from Sarah. They were the absolute light of my life. Sunday dinners were chaos, beautiful, glorious chaos. The sound of little feet, their sticky hands, their drawings taped to the fridge. Those were the days, the real days. Then things started to shift, slowly, like the tide going out. You don't notice it at first. Not really. It began with Robert spending more time in his study. The door always closed. He said it was for financial planning, just getting our affairs in order, Martha, making sure everything's squared away for the kids. He'd always been private with his work, so I didn't think much of it. Then he started talking about a new financial advisor, someone younger, more aggressive. He understands the modern market. We need to be smart, Martha, protect what we have, grow it for the next generation. I remember asking him why we needed a new one. Our old one, Mr. Henderson, had been with us for 20 years. Robert just waved his hand. Henderson's old school. Slow. We need someone who thinks outside the box. I trusted Robert. He was the numbers man. Always had been. So when he said we needed to sign new documents, paperwork for the estate plan, for a new trust, I signed. I didn't read every single line, not carefully enough. My eyes aren't what they used to be anyway, and Robert was sitting right there, guiding my hand, smiling that reassuring smile. He'd say, "Just routine, darling," dotting the I's and crossing the T's. The kids started visiting more often. David would drop by with Emily and Noah. Sarah would bring Chloe and Liam. They'd sit at the kitchen table, laugh. We'd talk about school, about their jobs, but there was a new undercurrent, a shift in their conversations. They'd ask Robert about his plans. They'd mention the importance of legacy, of making smart choices for the future. It was almost as if they were echoing him, a little chorus. I'd hear Robert on the phone sometimes, in the garage, or on the back patio, his voice low, urgent. He'd cut the calls short if I walked by. "Just business," he'd say. "Nothing for you to worry your pretty head about." He used to call me darling. Now it was pretty head. A small detail, but it felt like a wall going up, brick by brick. One afternoon, I was looking for the old photo albums, the ones from our honeymoon. I remembered Robert kept them in his desk drawer, the bottom one. I went into his study. The door was ajar. I pushed it open gently. The room smelled of old paper and something else, something cold. I pulled open the bottom drawer. The albums weren't there. Instead, I found stacks of legal documents, thick folders, a new name on some of them, a different law firm. My name wasn't prominent. Robert's name was everywhere, and the children's names: David Robert Miller, Sarah Elizabeth Miller, not Sarah Elizabeth Evans, her married name, just Miller, and then the children's full names, my grandkids. It felt like a chill wind, a premonition. I didn't dwell on it. I told myself it was just part of the new estate planning. Robert was being thorough, protecting everyone. That's what I told myself, over and over, until it sounded like a prayer. Then came the meeting, not with Mr. Henderson, but with the new advisor, a slick young man named Mark, and a lawyer I'd never met, Mr. Reynolds. They came to our house, sat in our living room. Robert was beaming. He looked younger, energized. He'd set up coffee and muffins. My muffins. I'd baked them that morning. A small act of domesticity in a suddenly alien space. They started talking about asset protection, about trusts, about irrevocable something or other. Words I didn't understand. Robert kept interjecting. "This is for our future, Martha. For the kids, for the grandkids, to avoid probate, to minimize taxes." He made it sound like a gift, like he was saving us all. Mr. Reynolds slid a stack of papers across the coffee table. "Just a few more signatures, Mrs. Miller, to finalize everything." I looked at them. The headings were vague, general, but I saw phrases like transfer of primary residence, assignment of all liquid assets. My hand trembled. "Robert," I asked. My voice felt small, too small. "What exactly am I signing here?" He smiled, a little too wide, a little too bright. "It's all part of the trust, darling. The living trust. It means everything goes directly to David and Sarah, seamlessly, without any fuss. It's cleaner this way, and it protects us from, well, from unexpected eventualities." "Unexpected eventualities?" I asked. My stomach lurched. He patted my hand. "You know, nursing home care, medical expenses, things that can drain a family's savings. This protects our legacy, keeps it in the family, for the children." I looked at the documents again, and then at Robert, really looked at him. His eyes were hard, unyielding, not the kind eyes I'd fallen in love with. Something was off, terribly off. I felt a cold dread creep up my spine. "I need a minute," I said. My voice was shaky. I stood up, walked into the kitchen. My muffins were still on the counter, untouched. I remembered something, a small digital voice recorder my grandson Noah had left behind. He used it for school projects. It was in the junk drawer by the phone, a tiny black rectangle, almost invisible. I snatched it, fumbled with the buttons, heard a small click. Recording. I walked back into the living room. My heart was pounding like a drum. I slipped the recorder into the pocket of my cardigan, sat down, forced a weak smile. "I'm sorry," I said, just a little overwhelmed by all the legalese. Mr. Reynolds gave a practiced, placating nod. Mark, the advisor, just watched me. Robert squeezed my knee. His grip was too tight, almost a warning. "So," I said, "this means if I sign this, the house, our savings, it all goes into this trust, for the children." "That's right, Martha," Robert said. His voice was smooth again. Too smooth. It's the most responsible thing we can do for them, for their future, for the grandchildren. And what about my future, Robert? I asked. I tried to keep my voice steady. It was getting harder. What about us? If everything is in this trust, what do we live on? Robert sighed, a theatrical sigh. He looked at the lawyer and the advisor, as if to say, here we go. Martha, we've been over this. We'll have our pensions, Social Security. It's more than enough. This is about being smart with the assets, the big picture, the house, the investments. They're valuable. They need to be protected from outside influence. He glanced at me again. Something shifted in his eyes, a flicker of something I didn't recognize. Something mean. Outside influence, I asked. What outside influence? Robert, we're married. Everything we have is ours. Jointly. He leaned closer. His voice dropped, so low only I could hear. Don't be naive, Martha. You're getting older. Your memory isn't what it used to be. Things can happen. People can take advantage. We need to protect the family's assets. From you. The words hit me like a physical blow. From me, my own husband, of 45 years. He thought I was losing my mind, that I was a risk, a liability. A sudden tremor went through me. Are you saying I can't be trusted? I whispered. He pulled back. His face hardened. No more fake smiles. No more gentle pats. I'm saying we need to be practical, realistic. The children agree. They want to see their inheritance secured. They've worked hard too. They have families of their own. The children agree. I felt my world tilting. David, Sarah, my own children. Were they in on this? They understand the importance of this. Martha, they are sensible. They see the big picture. This is about making sure they are taken care of, that their futures are secure. It's what good parents do. I looked at the papers. My hand was shaking so badly, I couldn't have held a pen if I tried. Robert, I said, what if I don't sign these? The air in the room changed. It became heavy, electric. Robert's face went completely blank, empty. He stared at me, his eyes cold, uncaring. This was not the man I married. This was a stranger. Martha, he said. His voice was flat, emotionless. You will sign them. Why? I asked. A single tear escaped, traced a path down my cheek. He leaned forward again, his voice a low, dangerous whisper. Because if you don't, if you make a fuss, if you try to hold onto what is rightfully going to the children, then I will leave. I will divorce you, and I will make sure David and Sarah never speak to you again. I will tell them you are selfish, that you tried to ruin their future, that you've gone senile and need to be protected from yourself. They will believe me. They always have. You'll lose everything, Martha. Your home, your family, your dignity, all of it. Think about that. Think about being alone, completely alone, in your old age, with nothing. The silence that followed was deafening. The lawyer, the advisor, they were just watching, observing, like scientists watching an experiment. They didn't interfere. They didn't flinch. They were part of it, all of them. My husband, my children, these strangers. They were all in it together, against me. The shock was so profound, it stopped my breath. My chest tightened. My head swam. I felt dizzy, like I was falling into a black hole. My entire life, 45 years, our love, our children, our home, it was all a mirage, a carefully constructed lie. This man, this monster, had been living under my roof, sleeping beside me, all these years, planning this, scheming, with our children, my own flesh and blood. I looked at him, the man who was supposed to protect me, to cherish me, to love me. He was offering me an ultimatum. My home, my financial security, for my family, or nothing. And he was so certain I would choose the family, so certain I would crumble. I closed my eyes. For a moment, the world went completely dark. I could hear my own heart hammering. I could feel the small recorder in my pocket, warm against my skin. The click, the recording, I had it. His words, his threats, his betrayal, all captured. I opened my eyes, looked at him again. There was no going back. Not after this. The Robert I knew was dead. Fine, I said. My voice was raspy, a whisper. Give me the pen. He smiled, a triumphant, chilling smile. Like the Cheshire Cat, he picked up the pen, handed it to me, and I signed. I signed away my home, my savings, my future, my life, with his threats echoing in my ears, with the knowledge that I had recorded every single horrifying word. The moment the pen left the paper, I felt it, the final break, not just of the legal ties, but of my soul, my heart, my trust. It shattered into a million pieces. They left soon after. Robert was cheerful, chatty, as if nothing had happened. He walked them to the door. Thank you both so much. This is a huge weight off our shoulders. Our shoulders, not mine, his, and the children's. I sat there, in the living room. The silence was immense. My chest ached. I couldn't breathe properly. I felt like an empty shell, a ghost in my own home. Robert came back in. He looked at me. See, Martha, that wasn't so bad, was it? Now we can all move forward. As a family. He tried to put an arm around me. I flinched, pulled away. He stopped. His smile dropped. What's wrong with you? I just looked at him. My eyes burned, but no more tears came. There were no more tears left. You think I'm going to let this stand? I asked. My voice was surprisingly strong. Steady. He scoffed. What are you going to do? You signed everything. Fair and square. I reached into my cardigan pocket, pulled out the small black recorder, held it up. It looked insignificant, harmless, but it was a weapon. My weapon. His eyes widened. The color drained from his face. What is that? He whispered. It's you, Robert, I said. It's everything you just said. Every threat, every lie, every word of your beautiful ultimatum. I have it all. Recorded. He lunged for it, but I was faster. I stood up, held it above my head. He was surprised, stunned. He looked like a cornered animal. Rage flashed in his eyes. Raw, violent. You scheming bitch, he hissed. No, Robert, I said. You are, and now everyone will know. That was the explosion, the moment the fuse finally burned down. The aftermath was swift and brutal. He left that night, packed a bag, didn't even look back. The house felt colder than ever. Empty. The silence screamed. I called a lawyer the next morning. Not Mr. Reynolds. A different one. A woman. MS. Peterson. She listened patiently, her face grim. I played the recording for her. The sound of Robert's voice filled her office. His threats, his cold calculation. When it finished, she took off her glasses, rubbed her temples. Mrs. Miller, she said, this is very difficult. You did sign the documents, but this recording, it proves duress, undue influence. It's not an open and shut case, but it gives us a fight. A fight, that's what it became. A war with my husband, a war with my children. I called David. He didn't answer. I called Sarah. She finally picked up. Her voice was cold, distant. Mom, she said, what have you done? Dad told us everything. He said you're being irrational, trying to go against his wishes for our inheritance, that you're not well. Sarah, I pleaded, my voice breaking. Your father manipulated me. He threatened me. He's taking everything. He recorded him. He said you agreed with him, that you knew about this. A long silence. Then, Mom, Dad just wants to make sure we're all taken care of. He said you were getting confused, forgetful, that you might make poor decisions with the money. This is for the best, for everyone. For the best, I cried. He threatened to divorce me, to turn you all against me. He said I'd be alone, with nothing. Is that for the best? I don't know what you're talking about, Mom, she said, her voice flat, unemotional. Dad says you're exaggerating, that you're letting emotions get the best of you. We stand by him. He's always looked out for us. He's always been the sensible one. Click. She hung up. Just like that. My own daughter. My beautiful Sarah. I called David again. Left a voicemail. Poured out my heart. He never called back. The court process began. A slow, agonizing grind. Depositions. Hearings. Every piece of my life. Our life. Laid bare. Robert's lawyer painted me as a frail, confused old woman. Easily swayed. Prone to hysterics. My lawyer used the recording. Played it for the judge. Robert sat there, stone-faced, denying, deflecting, saying it was taken out of context, that I was prone to dramatic outbursts. My children appeared, not as witnesses for me, but for Robert. They spoke about his careful financial planning, his dedication to their future. They spoke about my recent forgetfulness, my emotional instability. David recounted a time I misplaced my car keys. Sarah spoke of my anxieties about the future. Small, normal things, twisted into weapons, against me, their own mother. The sight of them in court, their faces averted, refusing to look at me. It was worse than any legal defeat, worse than any financial loss. It was the ultimate betrayal, the death of a relationship I thought was unbreakable. The judge ruled. It was a compromise. I didn't get everything back. Not fully. The house became mine again. But many of the liquid assets, the investments, they remained in the trust. For the children, Robert was ordered to pay me alimony, a paltry sum, a consolation prize, a pittance for 45 years. I won the house, but I lost everything else. Robert moved out, found a smaller place. The children visited him. Not me. Emily, Noah, Chloe, Liam, my grandchildren. I haven't seen them in a year. Sarah changed their school. David moved them to a different town, to isolate me further, to cut me off, just as Robert promised. The house, it feels like a mausoleum now. Every room echoes with ghosts, of laughter, of love, of a family that was never real. I walk through the empty rooms, touch the cold surfaces. The oak tree outside the window is bare now. Winter has come. I go to the grocery store. I see Mrs. Henderson, Mr. Henderson's wife. She smiles faintly. Martha, how are you? I just nod. Can't bring myself to talk, to explain, to confess the ugliness of my life. I sit in coffee shops for hours, just watching people, families, mothers with their adult daughters, grandparents with their grandchildren. My heart aches, a physical pain. I see myself in their happy faces, a ghost of who I once was. Sometimes I drive past David's old house or Sarah's apartment just to see if I can catch a glimpse, a flicker of movement, a child's toy in the yard. But it's never enough. It only twists the knife deeper. I'm 68 now. I was supposed to be enjoying my golden years. Travel, family, peace. Instead, I sit alone, with my coffee, in my too big house, listening to the hum and the silence, the recording. I still have it, on an old phone now. Sometimes, late at night, when the loneliness is unbearable, I play it. Robert's voice, cold, threatening. It doesn't bring me peace. It just reminds me. It just confirms every single terrible thing. I live in the ruins of my life, a monument to a betrayal so profound. It took everything, even my memory of who I was. And I remember every single word, every single lie,